All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. I am Tyler Schwaller. I am the chaplain and assistant professor of religious studies at Wesleyan College. It is good to be together, even if virtually, for this service. Let me begin first by thanking Wesleyan student Suki Shujing Zheng for recording the opening music, which was Feather Theme from Forrest Gump by Alan Silvestri. Baccalaureate is an occasion to pause and to reflect, to honor all that it has taken to get to this moment just hours before receiving a diploma. The service is rooted in religious tradition, and we will share some prayers and engage in ritual, but all of you are invited to engage as is meaningful and appropriate for you. All right, I want to give just a few instructions since we're on Zoom together. I think a lot of us are getting into the spirit of Zoom already, but if you don't know, please mute your microphone if you have not already done so. So find the controls on your screen, maybe hover your mouse, and if you can find where you see mute, it would be great to stay muted throughout the service so that we can hear the featured speakers. And there will be a moment where we will ask you to unmute. So stay tuned for that, but please remain muted throughout the service. Also, it's a good idea if you're on a computer and you hover your control up to the top, there are some different views. Setting your view to speaker view is a good idea. Not necessary, but just a word of suggestion. Also, I just want to say a word about gathering virtually. Sometimes people say that online communication isn't real communication, but number one, that's what we have now. But also, this is real. Graduates, you are surrounded by people who love you. We have shown up for you. This is very much real. And so I hope you enjoy and find celebration in this time together. All right, now to begin, we will start with an invocation, a time for centering ourselves for the occasion. And for this, Madison Hobbs, one of our esteemed seniors and a dedicated leader of the Wesleyan Disciples, will share the invocation. Maddie, please.
So as Dr. Schwaller said, this is a very special night of reflection for our time at Wesleyan College and anticipation for what is to come. So in that spirit, I'd like to offer a prayer out of my own Christian tradition, and feel free to pray along with me or just to simply listen and reflect. Let us pray. God of all people, you have gathered us together virtually, and by the way, thank you for that ability, to celebrate the achievement of the class of 2020, the class I'm so proud of. We have laughed and breathed, encouraged to challenge each other, and sense of community. We have witnessed your diversity, wisdom, beauty, and justice through each other. We have used our voices to make changes that have lasting impact on the fellow students. So thank you, guys, for this incredible class of 2020. We are making Wesleyan stronger people who are ready to take the world.
I'm on it now. I'm gonna have to get where I'm on video. Not video right now. I'm gonna have to sit somewhere where I get on video.
Thank you for Wesleyan, and thank you for all that you do. Thank you for the faculty, staff, and professors who have loved and guided us well. Thank you for what is to come. As Dr. Schwaller said to me last week, the true memory of someone is the feeling of their absence. And friends, Wesleyan is going to miss you and feel your absence. And lastly, thank you, God, for the long-lasting familial bonds that we have cultivated at Wesleyan. You are a good God, full of grace, and by your grace, you have perfectly knit together the green class of 2020. We ask that you create a sense of peace in everyone's homes tonight, that we may all experience your love through our love for each other and Wesleyan College. In Jesus' name, amen.
Greetings, faculty, staff, parents and friends, and especially our seniors, the class of 2020. To remind you of your Wesleyan home, I'm pre-recording this welcome from the pulpit of Pierce Chapel. But I'm also with you live for this virtual baccalaureate service. Normally, I would be greeting you from the pulpit of Mulberry Street.
You need to grab a snack or something.
The mother church of Wesleyan College. For it was in that church that a group of Macon leaders conceived the idea of a college for women, a college where women could earn the same degrees that men earned. That idea came to fruition when Wesleyan was chartered by the state of Georgia in 1836. And then just a few hundred yards up Mulberry Street, the original Wesleyan campus on College Street opened in January 1839. Since then, Wesleyan has weathered many storms: wars at home and abroad, economic disasters from the panic of 1837 to the panic of Wall Street in 1929, epidemics like smallpox, tuberculosis, polio, and flu, and pandemics such as the world experienced in 1918 and is experiencing now. Through it all, Wesleyan has remained a star in the dark and an emblem of all that is grand. Class of 2020, whether you graduate in May or August, you are about to embark on a new beginning, the next chapter of your story. And while you are entering a strange new world, I know yours will be a grand journey. For some of you, that journey will take you miles and oceans away. Some of you will remain close by. No matter where you go from here, you will carry with you the relationships nurtured, the lessons learned, the memories made in these past years at Wesleyan. Your class, like those before you who persevered despite the storms around them, you will remember how you persevered, how you supported one another, how resilient you were in the midst of adversity. Know that you have a special connection, not just with members of your class, but with thousands of Wesleyan graduates throughout the world, with whom you share an identity. Know, too, that whether you return next week, next year, or 50 years from now, you will always find a warm welcome at Wesleyan. This will always be your home. God bless you.
Thank you, President Fowler. I just want to say I'm really having fun doing this online. When I said that online communication is real communication, like, this is real. Life is messy. We hear funny sounds. Things don't always work as planned, and yet we're going forward in celebration of the spirit of community. So I hope you're having fun too. I know I am. President Fowler has reminded us of our connection to Wesleyan that moves not only through the physical space of the campus, bringing her greeting from the chapel, but also across time through generations of devoted students, faculty, and staff. You graduates are now becoming a part of that legacy that lives on through alumni. And so next, Abby Lisensky from the Wesleyan Alumni Board of Managers has offered you this welcome into the host of proud Wesleyan alums.
Hello, Green Class of 2020. My name is Abby Lisensky from the Red Class of 2001, and I'm so pleased to be sharing with you in your baccalaureate celebration. I'm representing alumni, a group of which you are now a part, as the president of the Alumni Association Board of Managers. 19 years ago, as my classmates and I were taking part in our baccalaureate, I wouldn't have believed someone saying that a day would come when I'd feel more proud to be a Wesleyan graduate, and I would have been wrong. With each passing year, the swelling and ever-increasing gratitude felt by many Wesleyan alumni can be attributed to many things: professors, campus activities, the lasting friendships made there, and without question, the Lord's will that included Wesleyan as a destination on all of our paths. But you should know that the binding legacy of sisterhood of which you are now a part does not end. As alumni, we are proud that Wesleyan is responsive to you and your needs. We are excited to hear of your accomplishments and of the budding traditions that ensue with every new class. But as a part of the alumni who chose to invest in you, quite literally, I hope you are compelled to start penning that second volume of your Wesleyan experience, in which you decide how you will contribute to Wesleyans in ways that are now completely your own. You see, a true Wesleyan honors the privilege of being part of Wesleyan by her continued engagement. In order for her to serve young women in the unique ways that only she can, she needs you. Don't drop the mic on Wesleyan. Please continue to connect with each other, with the college, with the Alumni Association, and by your prayers, your presence, your gifts, your service, and your talents. We will be the ones to make the Wesleyan experience possible for those who come after us. Congratulations, Green Class of 2020, and welcome to Alumnihood.
Now, if we had been able to gather in person, we would have first met at the original site of Wesleyan for the traditional marker ceremony at the top of Mulberry Street. We would also be sweating, so that's another thing that's not so bad about doing this virtually. One of the things that does make the marker ceremony so special beyond its historical significance is that graduates are treated to a message of inspiration from a Wesleyan alum. Though we can mark this occasion only virtually this year, we still have the chance to hear from this year's chosen marker ceremony speaker, Yehudi Self-Medlin. Yehudi graduated from Wesleyan College in 1996 with a degree in chemistry. She earned a PhD in physical chemistry from the University of Virginia in 2004, and she is currently the Associate Director for Science and Technology in the Computational and Information Services Directorate of the U.S. Army Research Laboratory, or ARL. In addition to her work, Yehudi enjoys mentoring Wesleyan students and ARL early career staff in scientific and general professional issues. She is also active in service to the community, working with Habitat for Humanity, first as an AmeriCorps Vista volunteer in Gwinnett County, Georgia, and then as chair of the Family Selection Committee at Charlottesville Habitat for Humanity in Virginia. For Yehudi, such leadership continues the pattern that she set at Wesleyan. She was senior class president and continues to serve as reunion chair. Yehudi is involved with the Wesleyan Washington, D.C. Metro Area Alumni Club, and in 2017 joined the Board of Trustees and Board of Managers as an alumna trustee. So please now enjoy these remarks from Yehudi Self-Medlin.
Good evening. I'm excited about getting to speak to you about Wesleyan. This is the year we celebrate the centennial of the passage of the 21st Amendment. It took the passion and dedication of women, politicians, and social groups more than 100 years to build the momentum and support to finally achieve suffrage for women. And today we often take that right to vote for granted, but we should remember those who made it possible and support the women who continue to fight for equal rights. Many of you are or will become those women. And today, as you prepare to graduate, we give thanks to a group of citizens and leaders of the Methodist Episcopal Church who came together 184 years ago with a bold vision to establish the first college to grant baccalaureate degrees to women. I get chills just saying it. I like to think that their faith, perseverance, and daring spirit became embedded in the culture of Wesleyan, which allowed the college to triumph during the hard times and yet continue to lead women to greatness. Your cohort itself has demonstrated this very spirit by working together through the challenge of bringing diversity and inclusion to the forefront of discussion and for changing the culture of the college. The last 2 months are another example. The world was thrown into uncertainty, and Wesleyan and you had to rapidly adapt to a changing world. but you made it, and you've left a legacy with the school. But you will continue to persevere, learn, and evolve, and it will make you smarter and stronger. Wesleyan continues its tradition of empowering young women to become leaders and serve their communities. It is my hope that you have been imbued with Wesleyan's entrepreneurial spirit to go forth and contribute your unique talents to improving the world. Think about all the experience you had through Wesleyan. You too have been transformed into an adult, a scholar, a leader, a mentor, and an agent of change. Even though you are leaving this campus, Wesleyan will not leave you. The spirit and sisterhood you have built these last few years will only grow as you become part of the larger Wesleyan sisterhood. These women will continue to support, inspire, and encourage you through life's journeys. I feel blessed that no matter where we are throughout the country, whatever phase of life we were in, my sisters have continued to stay connected and engaged. In recent years, as I have become more involved in the Alumni Association, my local chapter, the Board of Managers and Trustees, my passion for the future of Wesleyan and her mission has grown immensely stronger. I am getting to see up close how Wesleyan has grown and evolved since I was a student. And I am so proud of where you are today and where this college can go. Now, we often think of the Alumni Association as preserving our past and keeping us connected, but it is so much more than that. Wesleyan's alumni are the bedrock of her success, her strength, and her future. I hope you will join me and so many of our sisters in giving back to this noble institution, because she depends on us and our community leaders. We are her loyal devotees to keep the classes full of vibrant students, to contribute funds for renovations and operations, to mentor students and other alumni, to help each other navigate in the professional world, and to lend our talents to the college whenever we can. Generations of women have stood where you are to mark the passage into a new chapter of life. Tomorrow, you become one of us and go out to conquer the world. So I leave you with this question. What will be your contribution to Wesleyan's future and the generations of women to come? Thank you.
Thank you to our alumni, and we look forward to what you will bring, graduates, as alumni of Wesleyan. We have now reached a point in their service when we take a moment to honor all that it has taken to get to this point. Graduates, I want you to think about your journeys. Consider all of those who have supported you, who have mentored you, who have challenged you, who have lifted you up when you've been down, and enriched your life with delight. You are not alone. You have never been alone. We need each other. We know this. I hope you know this. Think about this too. There are people celebrating you tonight who have been praying for you and hoping for your very best since even before you were born. Some of those people are in the same room with you right now. Some are watching from afar, some are sharing the screen. I hope you take a moment to look around you physically and virtually at all of the support. Also, let's take a moment to think too about some important people in your life who have departed this world, though you may continue to know their presence in a way that is very much real. We take a moment now to honor and remember loved ones who have died during your time at Wesleyan. Even though they are no longer with us, their impact on your life still matters, and that is a sacred thing. As I read the names of loved ones that you have noted, you will see Rachel Solomon and Maddie Hobbs lighting candles in Wesleyan's chapel as a visual reminder of the connection that lives on in your hearts and your memories. Tonight, we remember especially Dane and Viola Darby, parents of Ashley Darby, Enrique Pacheco, grandfather of Mariela Rodriguez Pacheco, Lois Lolo Neal, grandmother of Kat Neal, Beverly Ann Hickox, grandmother of Emily Chris, Bruce Davis, father of Kristen Davis, Morgan Alexandria Knight, best friend of Shy Brown, Sally B. Swint, grandmother of Aaron Malone, Sanquilla Brandon, sister of Q. Brandon, Katie Howard and Edward Walton, grandmother and grandfather of Amber Walton, Amber Gallman, mother of Kendall Gallman, Joe Perry Simarath, grandfather of Anna Elizabeth Fenton, and Mariana Flush Simarath, grandmother of Anna Fenton. Harvest Franklin, grandfather of Kristen Davis. Melanie Strout Kincaid, aunt of Hannah Ricker Strout. Clarence Lynch, grandfather of Rolanda Hercules, Joe Jackson, her stepbrother-in-law, and Priscilla Zellner, Girls Inc. mentor to Rolanda. Melvin McLaughlin, grandfather of Melanie D. Johnston. Mr. Leon Wallace, family friend of Kristen Kelly. Marie Mitchell, great-grandmother of Catherine Ann Fitz. Frankie Courts, father of India Danielle Courts. We remember, we cherish the memory of those who have been named tonight and those who might not have been named, but we hold dear in our hearts. We are connected. The love remains. May you, graduates, know this love throughout your days. Amen. All right. Remember the love, remember the connection. And tonight, we, faculty and staff, get to share our love with you, not only by gathering, but through words of encouragement. That is going to begin at this moment with one particular faculty member that you have chosen especially for this occasion. And so I turn things over now to your fabulous class president, Q. Brandon, to introduce tonight's speaker.
Our featured speaker for this evening, chosen by the class, is Dr. Lees. Dr. Lees, PhD, is an associate professor and department chair of English at Wesleyan College in Macon, Georgia. He was awarded a presidential fellowship and received his PhD from the University of Georgia, and he has also earned an MAT from Duke University with a concentration in secondary English. His research interests include 20th century American and British literature, action theory and hero studies, and sustainability and pedagogy. Among his sustainability-themed efforts, Dr. Lees co-presented Design Thinking and Sustainability Problem Solving. At AASHE in Portland, Oregon, he organized and chaired the panel Sustainability in and Writing Intensive Courses at SAMA in Atlanta, Georgia. Most recently, Dr. Lees was the editor and contributor to Climate Consciousness and Environmentalist Activism and Composition, Writing to Save the World, published by Lexington Books in the Theory and Practice series in March of 2020. Dr. Lees, as we all know, is an amazing professor here at Wesleyan who has had a large impact on all of us, as we all can attest. He has created a big impact on all of my fellow seniors. When discussing Professor Lees during our Zoom meeting, there was nothing less than great remarks. Dr. Lees, it has been an honor for all of us to gain your knowledge and learn from you over the past 4 years. You have created a mark on all of us we will never forget. And I am without a doubt pleased to introduce Professor Lees as one of our speakers tonight. Thank you.
Well, hey, everybody. So I didn't expect you to, almost make me cry before I even got started. I want to say, seniors of 2020, before I get going, how much I appreciate you all asking me to give your baccalaureate address. This is my first time, so we're sharing a first together this evening. So without even realizing it, you fit into my speech because you've given me a new experience. And so in a way, you've made my life longer. I decided to record my speech last night just to make sure there weren't going to be any connection problems. And I hope you enjoy it, and I love you all.
Hello, Wesleyan. Thank you again, seniors of 2020, for asking me to speak to you here at Baccalaureate. This has always been my favorite Wesleyan ceremony, and I'm honored to have the opportunity to share some thoughts with you, no matter the circumstances. And circumstances, funnily enough, are what I want to talk about this evening. Let's start with you and the circumstances of you. Those of you who've been in class with me before have likely heard me talk about some of this, but it will do you good to hear it again anyway. Each and every one of you, class of 2020, is an absolute miracle. Have you ever stopped to think about it? You are one of a kind. The atoms in your body, and there are a lot of them, 7 followed by 27 zeros according to the Jefferson Lab, are billions of years old, and most of them have traveled across the entire universe to make up you. It's not just the atoms that make you special, though. After all, our atoms are recycled and have been used before. As Sarah Kaplan from the Washington Post's Dear Science column puts it, it's plausible that your carbon atoms were once part of volcanoes, giant redwoods, apatosauruses, diamonds, plastic bottles, snakes, snails, lichens, nematodes, photosynthetic algae, the very first cells. It's certain that your carbon saw the interior of a star, survived a supernova, sailed through the solar system, and splashed down on Earth long before arriving at you. Breathe in and marvel at that fact. What makes you unique, though, is the particular placement and arrangement of your atoms, a configuration that changes with every thought, every new memory, every breath taken, every spear of broccoli eaten. You are the only you that has ever been or ever will be. Even if all of your 7 octillion atoms were to somehow recombine at some point in the distant future, that conglomeration wouldn't be you because Earth would be in a different place in the universe. Hint, there's a lot more movement going on than just a daily spin and a yearly trip around the sun. Of all the different things that combine to make you who you are, 2 of the most important are time and place. This, here and now, is your time. This is your place. And no human who has ever lived or will ever live could, can, will do what you can do here and now. These opportunities are yours. For some of you, this information might be stressful. Maybe it feels like I'm piling on the pressure, making it less rather than more likely that you will live your best life. If that's the case, I have good news. You don't have to feel that way, and I have some advice to help you out. 3 things to be specific. First tip, if you change the way you think about time, you can be more ready for opportunities as they arrive. Most of us, when we think of time, think of clock time, what the ancient Greeks referred to as chronos, time that can be measured, divided, predicted, and planned for. The Greeks had another concept of time, though, that they called kairos, which we might think of as opportunistic time. Kairos is a complicated concept with lots of different meanings and applications, but the most important part for our purposes is that kairos has to do with meaningful moments in which significant events can occur. Nobody can force a kairic moment to arrive.
All we can do is be ready to act appropriately when it does. The key to this state of readiness is a kind of Goldilocks balance, neither too worried about the future nor too obsessed with the past, so that you can focus on what's right in front of you. It's a lesson that Robert Frost teaches us in his frequently misread poem, The Road Not Taken. We all know the setup. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. The speaker has a dilemma, has to make a decision, and isn't sure what to do, a familiar metaphor for life choices to which any reader can relate. The last 3 lines of the poem are very powerful, some of the most recognizable in all of American literature. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. From the moment of its publication, readers, especially American ones, have been drawn to the comfort these final lines offer, but don't fall for it. Frost is being his usual tricksy self here. The sigh that the speaker anticipates letting out at the beginning of the poem's final stanza will not be one of contentment and satisfaction for making the better choice. Rather, it will be a sigh of deep anxiety because this speaker is obsessed about knowing for sure that he did the right thing, when truthfully, we can never know with certainty what would have happened if we had made different choices in any of the Chiric moments in our lives. Living chirically means that all we can do is make the best decision with the information that we have at hand, and then once it is made, do what is necessary to be ready to make the next decision a good one. One thing should be said in favor of our poor, tortured trail traveler, though. He does at least make a choice and take action. Rather than suffering a Prufrockian paralysis at the prospect of not knowing which trail was better, after doing as much research as he can, he looks down as far as he can to see what lies ahead and also notices that nobody has taken either path recently. He chooses a path and takes it. And that's all any of us can do, really. So when your next big moment arrives, do your research, check your sources, make a call, and then try not to worry too much about what might have happened if you had made a different choice, so that when the next big moment arrives, you will be ready for it. Tip 2 in Dr. Lisa's Guide to Living Your Best Life. Work small so that you don't feel paralyzed by the world's big problems. The despondency that can arise from worrying about being one individual who can't stop an oncoming tide of global catastrophe is extremely dangerous to all of us. And the best way to fight it is to focus on the benefit of doing small, good things. Even the greatest human achievements are not singular actions so much as a collection of lots and lots of small, effective ones. If you focus only on the biggest problems in the world, you may find yourself paralyzed, unable to act, because what difference can I make? You're not alone if you feel this way. This phenomenon is called compassion fade, and you can see its results everywhere. Basically, because of how the human brain works, the larger and more abstract a problem is, the more distanced we feel from it, and the energy required to try and do something about it dissipates. This explains why Americans will donate $1 million to a GoFundMe account to help one homeless person whose story has been shared on social media, but lack the political will to take on the problem of homelessness that impacts millions of Americans. The solution to compassion fade isn't to try and make humans more comfortable with abstraction, but instead to focus on and believe in the power of the small act. Small acts added together can create the momentum necessary for big change. How did Greta Thunberg start her global campaign for climate change awareness? By herself, with a homemade sign, standing outside of her school. Don't ever think, and don't ever let someone else make you think, that your own efforts to make the world a better place are insignificant. They aren't. Tip 3. Make the most of your time by trying new things. One of my favorite scholarly works to cite when I'm talking about time with students is Douwe Draaisma's Why Life Speeds Up as You Get Older. In it, Professor Draaisma discusses how memory impacts the way that we feel time, leading to life feeling faster or slower, depending on what we are doing and whether we have done it before. He sets up an extended metaphor of the brain working kind of like an elaborate filing system. When we have a brand new experience, our brains create a new file and log it away. This is a significant event that requires effort and energy, making our brains more active and ourselves more present in those moments. Once an experience is filed, though, anytime it is repeated, the process of logging it into a file that is already established is much less strenuous, and we don't have to pay attention in the same way. Think of it this way. Have you ever been driving to work or school, something you've done hundreds of times before, and found yourself kind of waking up whenever you arrive at your destination, not even remembering making some of the turns or stopping at some of the lights? That happens because your brain is so used to the activity that you aren't really paying attention. You're kind of on autopilot. And while the 20 minutes or so of your drive actually passed as 20 minutes in real time, you were only paying attention for a few of them, making it feel like that time was shorter than it really was. Because of this, two people can live the same amount of measurable time down to the second, but one might feel as if her life were much shorter than the other, especially if she spent most of her life doing the same things every day. Want to feel that your life is longer, richer, and more satisfying? Make it a habit to try new things as often as you can. Patterns are not all bad. They make us feel safe in their familiarity, and a certain amount of them is necessary for good mental health. Moreover, not all perceptions of time compression are bad. After all, time flies when you're having fun, and any book lover can attest to how easy it is to lose hours in a favorite novel. Just do your best to make sure, as much as you can, that the time you lose is to activities you love with a healthy dose of new experiences mixed in. And don't get in a rut. This time we have is all that we get. Remember, your particular collection of atoms only happens once, so make the most of it. That's it. Easy, right? Your best life is right here in front of you. No missed opportunity can prevent other great opportunities from arriving, and no problem is so big that you can't take it on one good decision or one new activity at a time. I know I've probably gone on too long, but that's the risk you take when you ask an English professor to give you a speech. We have lots of words, and we really like using them. I saved the best for last, though. Everyone at Wesleyan and all of your family and friends love you more than you can know. And we can't wait to see what you do next to make the most of your time and to make your world a better place. Good luck, class of 2020.
Thank you, Dr. Lease. So there's a theme, graduates. There's a lot of love shared with you today. And we're about to share some more. I feel like I'm saying this constantly, but if we were gathered in person, you would hear during this service from a few family members, friends, or mentors who would offer words of wisdom, blessing, and encouragement. But this is one of those moments when it's actually better perhaps to be online because there is space for more sharing rather than less. So in this moment, this is when you all who are gathered in support of our graduates become active participants. In just a second, I am going to invite family members and friends, along with faculty and staff, to share words of support with you through the chat box. So hover over the screen or tap the screen, find the icon for the chat box, and think about what message you want to share. You'll have the option to type and to share with the entire group. While you're thinking and writing, a Wesleyan senior, Dora, Yuru Jin will play Frédéric Chopin's Nocturne Opus 9, number 1 in B flat minor. So please enjoy the music and take a moment to think about what you would like to share with our graduates. And then please do write a little message. And seniors, soak up all of this shared wisdom. Thank you, Dora. Please feel free to share. Thank you so much, Dora. And thank you all for sharing your words. It's been really special seeing them all come through. Seniors, I want you to know that we will save this chat and send these messages out to you in the coming days. So if you didn't have a chance to see everything right now, we'll make sure to get that to you. Also, I don't want you to forget about the Flipgrid page that I shared with you by email. I've been seeing those videos come in through the week, and each one has been so special and so dear. So as you're spending this weekend thinking about graduation and maybe feeling wistful for what could have been if we were celebrating in person, I think you'll feel the love and the spirit and the encouragement through those videos. So hold these messages dear, check out our Flipgrid page, and I'll be sure to send out a reminder so that you can see these things going forward. Okay, all right, we are moving to the end of this ceremony, and seniors, it is now your turn to take it over. This is your celebration, this is your moment, and as is traditional at Baccalaureate, we invite you to join together in a unison prayer of gratitude and hope. And this will be followed then by a video of the alma mater featuring our senior Wesleyans. Jillian Pritchett, your class treasurer and secretary.
Hi.
And join together. Go ahead.
Hi, everyone, here virtually with you guys. I invite you at this time to please unmute your microphones and join me in a prayer to our Heavenly Father.
Why would you do that?
O Spirit of life,
for the
opportunity to
spend
our life study, we are truly grateful. We remember with thanksgiving all those who have helped us to this day. Family,
friends, and
mentors, faculty, staff, and fellow students, and countless others who cultivate a community of care. Bless us on this special day and fill us with your spirit, that we may commit ourselves to a collective future, confidence and hope. Give us resources of imagination, courage, and will, that we might co-create a world sustained by justice and peace. Amen.
Hail Wesleyan, now
Seniors, the last two nights' events have been reminders of what a special class you really are. During the senior toast last night, you spoke tenderly about your appreciation for one another and for faculty and staff who shaped your experiences at Wesleyan. Many of them left messages to you on Flipgrid and just now on the chat. So you'll see the feeling is mutual. But as I looked at your faces tonight, I thought about the many ways you have left your mark on Wesleyan through SGA, Wesleyan Disciples and other religious organizations, through class and student activities, through community activism, through athletics, art and theater and musical performances, through the Lane Center, and through your individual majors, and in so many more ways. I know you will continue to contribute wherever life takes you, to graduate programs or community service or professional arenas. May God go with you and bless you and guide you wherever you go.
Thank you, President Fowler. All right, just a couple things left. As we are approaching the very end of this ceremony, I do want to take a quick moment to give a very hearty thank you to Professor Laura Leese and to Jan Tedders, who have been working behind the scenes and have been collaborating all week to make this virtual gathering possible. I'm so grateful for their help in this. Thank you also to Dr. Chenny Gann for coordinating the music, and especially to the students, to Suki, to Dora, to Jane, and to the Wesleyans who have shared so splendidly of their gifts. And now, class of 2020, as we wrap up this service that is a celebration of you, we turn the spotlight to you. Take a moment to soak it all in. Feel the love, cherish the memories, and let's all take a moment to enjoy some images from your time at Wesleyan while Jane Jianzhu plays River Flows in You. And then hold tight, because there will be a closing word from someone whose wisdom you have sought time and again, and from whom you have requested to hear, especially tonight, our beloved Tanya Parker, Assistant Dean for Equity and Inclusion. But first, before we conclude, reminders of your time at Wesleyan, accompanied by Jane.
Wow, Dora, that was beautiful. So beautiful. My heart, I think the video almost got me as well. I don't know if anyone has ever said that it wouldn't be as special or it wouldn't be as meaningful to do something such as this virtually. I have to say, it, it hits me right in the heart. And as I'm looking at the faces of the people on my screen, you guys, this has been a beautiful ceremony, and it was just wonderful. Class of 2020, I know that this is very different for your expectations and what you wanted to see at the end of your year. But I have to tell you, from where I'm sitting and what I just experienced, it was beautiful. And I hope that you felt it as well. Everyone has done such a phenomenal job tonight. And Dr. Joe Lees, his message went right to my heart as well. And then seeing all of the videos and my friend, Dr. Tyler Schwaller, the beautiful program that you and President Fowler and everyone put together, Laura Lees behind the scenes, and Jan Tetters. This has just been beautiful. Class of 2020, we say we'll never forget. We won't forget. I mean, if this is the only opportunity that we'll get to do this, you'll stand out even more. So please know that this makes you even more special on top of all of the atoms that Dr. Lees talked about. This makes you even more special. And so as we begin to close out, I just want to remember, just like Tyler Schwaller was saying, Dr. Schwaller was saying, this moment of togetherness, of fellowship, this celebration, I want to thank you, class of 2020. You are very special to me, as many of you started in the fall of 2016, which was my first fall semester as a Wesleyan employee as well. As I began my position in February of 2016, but that was in spring. So when fall started, you guys were my new beginning. You were my fresh start with the class in which I would have a rapport with the students. And as the other students began to transfer in, I just have this bond with you. And as you graduate, I feel like this is also a graduation for me again, as I am also your sister. My class of 2001, we will be celebrating our 20-year reunion next year. And I hope you all plan to come back for your first year of being beyond the Wesleyan campus, because your first year away as you join the Wesleyan alumni will be my 20th. Don't do the math, don't try to figure out my age, just keep it moving, okay? I look forward to hearing what you did in that year. I do. I know sometimes things change and we have to be flexible and just go with it. And you guys are capable of doing that. Look at us today, what we're doing. You are going with it. So I have great faith in you that whatever comes your way, you'll take it and you'll just go with it. In the meantime, until we meet again, I want to share this with you. It's really short. It's called Free Yourself to Go Right Ahead. And it's a message from Ralph Marston Jr. He says, free yourself from your worries about what others might think or say about you. Free yourself from the limitations that your doubts have imposed upon you. Free yourself from the misguided assumption that effort is something to be avoided. Free yourself from those uncomfortable yet negative habits that waste so much of your precious time. There is so much good you can do right here and right now. Free yourself to experience the joy of creating the goodness as you live each moment. There are countless great possibilities open to you today. Free yourself to go right ahead, to explore and fulfill the best of those possibilities. Free yourself from the need to be troubled by troubles. Allow yourself to accept what is, then allow and encourage yourself to make the best of it. Free yourself from whatever may have held you back before. This is your time to live, and do so with all of the spirit and energy of which you are so beautifully capable. That was published in 2015, and it still applies today in 2020. Wesleyan graduates and everyone present here today, free yourself to go right ahead. Whatever that means to you, free yourself and do it. Congratulations once more, class of 2020. May you continue to obtain knowledge, acquire and utilize wisdom, and persevere
in spite of any challenges you may face. Soon, you'll be able to check off the box that you graduated in the midst of a pandemic. You are well on your way to overcoming pretty much anything. Blessings, peace, good health, and much love and joy to everyone. Thank you all for participating in this beautiful and meaningful program this evening. Class of 2020, we love you. We are all so proud of you. Everyone, take care, have a good night, and be safe. Thank you and good night.
Hey, maybe free yourselves from the mute, unmute, cheer, scream, clap. We celebrate you.
Yay.
Thanks.
Yes,
Here.
sir.
Congratulations, Rolanda.
Thank you.
Congratulations. I'm proud of you, girl. The smartest
We
little
love
girl I know.
God bless. Sharon from Maryland.
All right. Good night, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Congratulations.
Yes.
Bye, everyone.
Good night.